In the global landscape of business, only a few wield extraordinary power. Welcome to the world of consulting giants, McKinsey and Company, Boston Consulting Group or BCG, Bain and Company, and their peers. These firms don't just advise, they plan strategies, guide policies, and navigate the complexities of the modern economy. However, under the surface of competence is a society fraught with scandal where unbridled power and scandals abound. How exactly do these titans shape the fate of corporations and countries alike? What secrets lurk in the shadows of their boardrooms? And can their influence be controlled before it's too late? Let's investigate deeper to uncover the reality behind their hold on everything. But before we begin, my name is Mr. Scape, and if you like this video, please consider a like and subscribe. Your support means a lot. Now, let's get started. McKinsey and Company, alongside Boston Consulting Group or BCG, and Bain and Company forms a triad of influence, shaping the decisions of corporations and governments worldwide. These firms boast alumni who hold key positions in Fortune 500 companies and governmental institutions and have cemented their power in business and government. They're the ones who call the shots and make the rules, influencing everything from how companies operate to what policies governments put in place. McKinsey and Company, founded by James O. McKinsey in 1926, swiftly evolved from a modest accounting boutique into a powerhouse of management consulting. Its influence spans finance, healthcare, technology, and manufacturing, reshaping industries with innovative solutions. One of its standout moments? The transformative partnership with General Electric in the 1980s, orchestrated by the legendary McKinsey consultant Jack Welch. This partnership exemplifies McKinsey's ability to spearhead significant change and serves as a model of effective company reinvention. But McKinsey's impact extends beyond corporate boardrooms. It shapes national policies. Take, for instance, its collaboration with the Singaporean government, where McKinsey played a pivotal role in crafting the nation's economic strategy, fostering sustainable growth, and positioning Singapore as a global economic powerhouse. Boston Consulting Group, or BCG, burst onto the scene in 1963 under the visionary leadership of Bruce Henderson, quickly establishing itself as a powerhouse in strategy consulting. Specializing in strategy formulation and implementation, BCG is the preferred partner for companies across industries seeking to conquer complex challenges and capitalize on growth prospects. What makes BCG different? Well, think about their partnership with Coca-Cola in the 1970s, which not only birthed the iconic Coca-Cola Classic brand, but also orchestrated a remarkable turnaround for the company's flagship product. Talk about leaving a lasting mark on corporate strategy. There's still more. BCG's partnership with the Indian government on the Make in India initiative is another blockbuster. This groundbreaking project aimed to supercharge manufacturing and create jobs in India. It's a prime example of how BCG can shape national policy and kickstart big changes in the economy. With a track record like this, it's no wonder BCG continues to be a trailblazer in consulting, turning challenges into opportunities and reshaping industries and nations along the way. Bain and Company, founded in 1973 by former BCG consultant Bill Bain, isn't your average consulting firm. Renowned for its results-driven solutions and hands-on approach, Bain has solidified its position as a frontrunner in management consulting. What makes Bain unique? Bain's groundbreaking collaboration with IKEA in the 1990s, which revolutionized the furniture industry with the introduction of flat-pack furniture and catapulted IKEA into global stardom. Talk about making waves in corporate strategy. That's not all. Bain's partnership with the US Department of Veteran Affairs is another game changer. By improving healthcare services for military veterans, reducing wait times, and enhancing access to care, Bain demonstrated its ability to influence national policy and make a tangible impact on people's lives. What truly distinguishes these consulting heavyweights is their remarkable capacity to transform ideas into action. With an arsenal of data, analysis, and industry acumen, consultants from these firms exert considerable influence over billion-dollar mergers, industry shakeups, and even economic policy. Their consulting job is not limited to boardrooms, it also encompasses Washington, London, and other power corridors. In particular, McKinsey has established a reputation for having strong relationships to the political class, offering advice to prime ministers, presidents, and other policymakers on everything from national security to economic change. Despite their image as the epitome of professionalism and expertise, consulting firms are no strangers to scandal. From corporate fraud to government corruption, these incidents have tarnished their reputations and sparked doubts about their ethical standards. As their polished exteriors start to show cracks, one can't help but wonder, are these firms really as honest as they claim, or are there darker truths hidden beneath their glossy facades? McKinsey and Company became embroiled in the opioid issue, which is a worrying development. Despite being well aware of the risks, McKinsey collaborated with Purdue Pharma, the manufacturer of OxyContin, to help push the highly addictive medication onto the market. This careless action sparked controversy and legal disputes and contributed to an epidemic of addiction and overdoses across the US. Many began to doubt McKinsey's morality and social consciousness after the company suffered a severe blow to its reputation. Another concerning example is the Boston Consulting Group's apparent connection to the Saudi Aramco initial public offering, or IPO. Prior to the IPO, BCG allegedly advised the Saudi government, which subsequently came under fire for alleged corruption and poor management. The controversy damaged BCG's brand and raised questions about its moral principles. Similarly, Bain and Company faced criticism for its role in the Toys R Us saga. Tasked with advising the struggling retailer, Bain's efforts led to store closures and job losses. Critics accused Bain of prioritizing profits over people, damaging the iconic brand. This episode highlighted the significant impact of consulting firms' actions on businesses and communities. These scandals significantly damaged the reputations of consulting firms and the wider industry. They've sparked widespread doubt and scrutiny from clients, regulators, and the public, eroding trust in consulting firms. As a result, these firms are now under pressure to re-evaluate their ethical standards, implement stricter oversight, and regain trust. Moreover, the frequent movement of consultants between consulting firms and government agencies raises worries about conflicts of interest. Former consultants often take up influential roles in regulatory bodies, blurring the line between serving the public and favoring private interests. As consulting firms accumulate wealth and clout, the temptation to misuse their power becomes stronger. Accusations of insider trading, bribery, and influence peddling have dogged the industry for decades. The close ties between consultants and corporate clients only intensify these ethical worries, fostering an environment ripe for corruption and wrongdoing. Among the most flagrant ethical breaches are insider trading and bribery, where consultants exploit their privileged access to confidential information for unfair advantages or lucrative deals. Take the case of a former McKinsey partner charged with insider trading. Allegedly, he leaked confidential data about corporate mergers to hedge fund managers in exchange for kickbacks. Rajat Gupta, once esteemed, faced charges in 2011, accused of divulging secrets to hedge fund magnate Raj Rajanatram. Gupta's conviction shed light on the prevalence of such unethical conduct in finance and consulting. It not only sullied McKinsey's reputation, but also cast doubt on the integrity of the entire consulting industry. These scandals highlight the critical need for strong oversight and strict adherence to ethical standards within consulting firms. Failure to do so risks eroding trust and damaging their credibility. Conflicts of interest often put consulting firms in delicate positions where their priorities clash with those of their clients or the public. Take Bain and Company, for instance, with its cozy connections to private equity firms. This raises eyebrows, as Bain might lean towards serving the interests of its private equity clients, possibly overlooking the needs of the companies it advises. In a notable case, when Apollo Global Management snagged the controlling stake in LifePoint Health in 2018, Bain's involvement in both LifePoint and other healthcare companies in Apollo's portfolio stirred concerns. It's a tricky balancing act. Bain could feel the heat to prioritize Apollo's interests, potentially influencing its advice to LifePoint Health on vital matters like pricing and expansion. Similarly, McKinsey's double role as both consultant and investor sparks skepticism. Take their consultancy with Deloitte, for instance. While advising Deloitte, McKinsey also competes with it for client engagements. This overlap raises red flags. McKinsey's advice could be swayed by its competitive ambitions. These cases underscore the importance of consulting firms managing conflicts transparently and upholding ethical standards to maintain the integrity of their services. Consulting firms frequently engage in lobbying and advocacy efforts to influence government policies and regulations in favor of their clients. This practice, known as regulatory capture, can lead to the erosion of public trust and the undermining of democratic processes. Bain and Company's involvement in lobbying to weaken environmental regulations is a notable example of actions undermining the regulatory process and perpetuating environmental harm and social injustice. Their tactics may have included direct lobbying, drafting policy proposals, and mobilizing industry stakeholders to support deregulation. These actions prioritize corporate interests over environmental sustainability, resulting in heightened pollution, habitat destruction, and public health risks. The consequences of weakened regulations are extensive, worsening existing inequalities and hitting marginalized communities and future generations the hardest. This highlights the pressing need for ethical thinking in consulting approaches to safeguard the welfare of society overall. In shaping public opinion, consulting firms hold a lot of sway. They use their big networks and strong media presence to tell compelling stories, hide facts that don't fit, and twist information to fit their clients' needs. In today's age of online misinformation, consulting firms work behind the scenes, influencing discussions without being noticed. Take McKinsey's involvement in healthcare reform, for instance. Critics say McKinsey's research, often paid for by big insurance companies and drug companies, favored their interests. During heated debates on healthcare reform, McKinsey's reports may have spotlighted the costs and pitfalls of proposed changes while sidelining potential benefits or alternatives. This one-sided story might convince policymakers and influence what people think, leaving patients and taxpayers feeling unsure and abandoned. McKinsey's cozy relationship with the healthcare industry amplifies concerns of bias and conflicts of interest. Critics fear that these ties may have clouded McKinsey's judgment, sacrificing public interests for private gains. The ethical problems and sneaky tactics employed by consulting firms pose a serious threat to both industry integrity and public well-being. Only by exposing these tricks and pushing for honesty, fairness, and clear rules can we make sure businesses do right by everyone. As scandals escalate and public outrage, calls for change are getting louder. Governments are stepping in, making rules stricter and demanding that consulting firms be totally honest. But here's the big question. Will these big consulting companies finally come clean about what they're up to, or will they keep hiding in their shadows, dodging punishment? The road ahead is filled with peril, teeming with uncertainty and laden with obstacles at every turn. As the world watches with bated breath, the fate of entire industries, economies, and even nations hangs by a thread. Will the big consulting companies finally listen to calls for honesty and fairness, or will they keep doing whatever they want, hiding from the consequences? Big consulting companies have totally changed the way we do business. They've become super powerful, calling the shots like never before, but behind all their fancy talk and smart suits lies a world of controversy and scandal, where unchecked power and ethical dilemmas abound. As we conclude our investigation of the consulting giants' influence, one question remains: can we hold them accountable for their actions? With mounting scandals and growing scrutiny, it's time for change. Let's demand transparency and ethical conduct to shape a fairer future for all. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe.